been a cloudy morning in Baltimore, but the sun is shining as we get set for kickoff between the Browns and Ravens. It's a warm day in Baltimore. Temperature right now at 80 degrees. For this battle of AFC North rivals, Hugh Jackson, the head coach of the Browns, and John Harbaugh, who is 7-2 in home openers here in Baltimore. Ravens as a team went 6-2 at home last year. As we talked about, a very difficult environment facing the Browns and rookie quarterback DeShone Kizer, who will get the football first, as Baltimore won the toss and they have deferred. There's the electric rookie Jabril Peppers back deep to receive the kick from Justin Tucker. Ravens with the shutout last week in Cincinnati, their 11th shutout in franchise history, their first since 2009 when they shut out the Browns. Trying to get to 2-0, and we are underway week 2 of the NFL on CBS, and Peppers will take a knee. Let's go down to the third member of our team, Steve Tasker.
Well, this week when DeShone Kizer was asked about playing the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1, the Baltimore Ravens week 2, he kind of smiled, shrugged his shoulders and said, hey, welcome to the NFL. He's going against a highly motivated Raven defense, and not only is quality, they showed it during the preseason. This is a tough defense, but they're highly motivated today. They have yet to surrender a point on the season, and they do not want to start surrendering touchdowns to a rookie quarterback in their home opener. Andrew?
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Kizer was in shotgun a lot last week, and that's how the Browns will start offensively with Isaiah Crowell next to him. It's Crowell running left, trying to get past Suggs. He does, but only picks up 2. There's a look at DeShone Kizer last week in the season opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was 20 of 30 passing for 222 yards, had a touchdown pass and also a touchdown run.
And a little bit of no huddle, which surprises you for a young player on the road.
He'll hand it off again, and Crowell doing nothing. It'll be 3rd down and long. A closer look at this Browns starting lineup today. And J.C. Tretter, the new center in his first year coming over from the Green Bay Packers. And we mentioned him in the open. Corey Coleman needs to have a big day for the Browns.
Yeah, and the one-on-one matchups, they will be available outside, but will DeShone Kizer have time in the pocket? Last week, 3 out of 12 on 3rd down, and this is a tough 3rd down situation right here.
Browns averaged 3rd and 10.5 last week. That was the worst of any team in week 1. And they start with their first 3rd down today. Another long one, 3rd and 7 with 1 on the play clock. They don't get it off. Our referee today, Gene Steratore.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So 3rd and 7 turns into 3rd and 12. This was a theme last week against the Steelers. They only converted 25% on 3rd downs.
As Hugh Jackson sends in this play, you see him covering his mouth. The final thing that he probably said after the play call, be careful with the ball. Because it's 3rd down. The worst thing is not to punt on 4th down. You have to avoid a turnover against this frenzied defense.
Duke Johnson, the running back. Kizer gets rid of it while he's hit, and it's incomplete. 3 and out, and Terrell Suggs in the backfield to meet the rookie Kizer.
Pressure in the pocket, it just collapses. He does step up, which is a positive thing, but when he steps up, there's still Ravens there. Ravens all over. Ravens can fly, can't they? Those are ground Ravens.
So Britton Colquitt comes out, his 2nd year with the Browns. Campanaro, who was questionable with an ankle injury. He suffered that injury in practice on Friday. He is active, and he's back there with Lardarius Webb. This one going to Webb, who calls for a fair catch at the 28-yard line. A 49-yard punt by Colquitt, and out comes Joe Flacco, now in his 10th season with the Baltimore Ravens. Last week, only 17 pass attempts, 2nd fewest in his career, but in that game against Cincinnati, he did not play the whole game. So in terms of games that he has played from start to finish, the fewest attempts of Flacco's career. Well, James, there was such a big deal made out of this all week. He didn't need to throw the football. This defense did the job, and Flacco only needed to throw 17 times. A 20-0 victory in Cincinnati. Here's Terrence West, the former Cleveland Brown, and he is held to 1 yard. As we take a look at the Baltimore starting offense, Marshall Yonda now in his 11th season. He's gone to the Pro Bowl 6 straight years. And Mike Wallace only had 1 catch last week in Cincinnati.
I like that matchup in the middle with Marshall Yonda against Trevon Coley and Danny Shelton, 2 really big defensive tackles.
West actually lost a yard, so it's 2nd and 11. Flacco over the middle to Macklin for a Baltimore first down. A 19-yard pickup for Macklin, who is slow to get up. He had injuries all last year in Kansas City, including a torn groin muscle, and he appears to be in some pain after making the catch.
It looked like he was clutching his left shoulder, and for Jeremy Macklin, you don't want another injury.
We'll step aside, come back to Baltimore in a moment. Jeremy Macklin getting looked at on the Ravens sideline. We'll take another look at what happened. Macklin appears to be very frustrated. And here's a look at the 19-yard catch.
You saw that release. Joe Flacco talked about the fact that he releases so well at the line of scrimmage, and he loses kind of like the security blanket that he was going to have in the 3 wide receiver set, but hopefully Macklin can come back in.
As soon as we know more, we'll get an update from Steve Tasker down on the Ravens sideline. Flacco play action on first down. Completes it to his tight end, Benjamin Watson. His first catch as a Raven, and another first down after a gain of 13.
Great job moving the pocket when you are able to get that bootleg action. And Joe Flacco, look at, there's nobody in front of him. So it's an easy throw. It's kind of like the throw that you do at the company picnic. It'll be coming up, Andrew, so you'll be able to hit me like that when I'm open.
It'll be a short pass, I'll assure you of that. Ravens tight ends only had 2 receptions last week. Watson spent 3 years with the Browns. Rashad Perriman has replaced Macklin at wide receiver. It's a handoff to another former Brown. It's Terrence West. And he gets across the 40-yard line. As we take a look at the Cleveland Browns starting defense, Carl Nassib gets the start again in place of the injured Myles Garrett, the #1 overall pick, still out with a high ankle sprain. Joe Schobert did a great job as the middle linebacker last week against Pittsburgh, and Peppers 4 tackles and a pass defense last week at the safety position. A Browns defense that held Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers offense to just 35 yards rushing. Flacco looking to throw again, and Perriman dropped it. It was McCourty on the coverage, and that's one Perriman should have had.
You know, we call that a volleyball because all he did was spike it downward. And it's so frustrating, even as the player himself. You just, why couldn't I catch that? Take the 70,000 fans that are here in attendance, 63,000 will tell you they could have caught it.
There's Greg Williams, the Browns defensive coordinator in his first season with Cleveland. Javaris Allen has come in at running back. As you see the safeties, just like last week, playing deep for Cleveland. Pressure coming by Kirksey, and he gets Flacco. Christian Kirksey flying into the backfield for his first sack of the year.
Christian Kirksey just around the corner, and there are too many Browns to block. And what they do on the outside, you slant down inside, and 2 are coming unblocked on the outside. So Joe Flacco, good job hanging on to the football and not making a mistake when you're in the pocket.
A loss of 8, and the Ravens will send out their punter, Sam Cook. Could not convert on 3rd down. Peppers back deep. Cook trying to pin him deep. A fair catch by Peppers at the 9-yard line. 10:06 to go first quarter. We're scoreless in Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Verizon, the best network and the best unlimited. And by the Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
Back in Baltimore, those Crabs look good. Joe Thomas is about to play his 10,000th consecutive snap. He has never missed a game. He has never come out for even one snap. This is number 10,000 right now for the 11th year man out of Wisconsin. Believed to be the longest in NFL history. And he's blocking for Isaiah Crowell, who's able to get into the second level and take it out close to the 20-yard line. What a remarkable accomplishment by Thomas, who was last week the #1 left tackle by Pro Football Focus. He said, "I never want it to be about me." He deflected a lot of the attention that he got this week for this incredible number.
You know, I asked him when we met with him, were you good first or were you dedicated first? And he put a little grin on his face. He said, you know what, I was good first, and then I became dedicated.
Crowell picks up 9 yards. It's 2nd and 1. They go back to Crowell, fighting for that first down, and he has it. I thought it was also interesting that he told us he never dreamed of playing in the NFL. In fact, his junior year at Wisconsin, late in the year, his offensive line coach asked him, "Are you going to come back for your senior year?" And he said, "What are you talking about? Why wouldn't I?" And he goes, "Joe, you're projected to be a top 5 pick right now." That was the first time that Joe Thomas thought, wow, I could actually play in the NFL. He did come back for his final year, and the Browns selected him number 3 overall in 2007. We do have an injury update on the Ravens sideline. Jeremy Maclin is being evaluated for a stinger on his right shoulder. We'll see if he's able to come back. Kaiser throwing and completes it. Randall Telfer makes the catch at the 40-yard line. A 20-yard pickup for the Browns' second-year tight end.
It all starts with protection in the pocket. Saw that ball coming out of DeShone Kizer's hand and no purple around him. So if he could throw from a clean pocket and have the vision that he has, big tall, statuesque quarterback, he can have some success.
Welcome to Hugh Jackson's offense. Look at this formation. We saw the T formation last week. Here it's Kaiser swinging one to Kenny Britt, and the Ravens do a good job of stacking him at the line of scrimmage, limiting Britt to a gain of 1.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot from Hugh Jackson and opposing defensive coordinators. They know that. He has that creativity streak. He came into our meeting with some multicolored shoes on that he had designed himself.
C.J. Mosley made that tackle for the Ravens defensively. It's 2nd down and 9. Kaiser looking sideline, incomplete. Threw it behind the intended target, Corey Coleman, with Jimmy Smith stride for stride in the Ravens secondary.
There'll be a little bit of discussion on this play because DeShone Kizer obviously thought that Corey Coleman was going to break that route off. Eric Weddle, the safety, was coming over the top in that direction, so there was no opportunity to throw the ball deep. So a little misread between quarterback and wide receiver.
And just like on their first drive, the Browns are faced with another 3rd and long. It's 3rd down and 9. And a false start is called against the Browns. Second time on 3rd down they've had a penalty called against them. A delay of game last time, and now a false start.
False start. Offense, number 10. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
I think there might have been just a little flinch from Sammy Coates, the wide receiver, number 11. He's a far side receiver. Right there, just that little bit of uh-oh.
And now Coates comes off the field for 3rd and 13. Rashard Higgins is the slot receiver for Hugh Jackson. He was elevated off the practice squad yesterday. Suggs coming with pressure. Kaiser steps up. Now Kaiser on the run. Lost the football. Knocked out by Suggs and scooped up by Matthew Judon. The Ravens defense forces another turnover. They had 5 a week ago, and the rookie Kaiser coughs it up.
Kaiser, plenty of time in the pocket. 5-man rush, nobody open down the field. When you're a great high school player and a great college player and you move into the pros as a rookie, you think that you can get it done physically at that same level. What you have to do, you have to succumb to that thought and say, okay, that clock goes off in my head, get rid of the football. It's run or throw it away.
It's a sack and a forced fumble for Terrell Suggs, his 2nd forced fumble of the season. And he sets up Baltimore with great field position for Joe Flacco. Flacco, now he steps up and throws it to Wallace, who is drilled. Hit hard by Joe Schobert.
That's called the hot potato throw. He's running with the football. He has the hot potato in his hand, and a nice job of uncovering by Mike Wallace, but Joe Flacco said, don't hit me. I don't have the ball anymore. I'm getting rid of it.
And a great sign here. Jeremy Maclin comes in for second down after the 7-yard pickup by Wallace. Flacco on the move, completes it to Watson again, and that's good for a Baltimore first down. Jamar Taylor on the tackle.
You know, there's a subtleness of doing things. Joe Flacco could have led Benjamin Watson with that throw, but he threw it right at him to tell Watson, there's somebody out in front of you. I'm going to stop you on this crossing route so you don't run into the next defender. Very smart by Joe and very smart by Benjamin Watson because when he caught that ball, he turned upfield immediately.
6.5 to go in the opening quarter. First and 10 for Baltimore at the 22. It's Javaris Allen on the carry, and he picks up a couple of yards. Well, going back to DeShone Kizer all week, the talk in Cleveland was Kizer speeding up his internal clock.
Right.
And when we met with him last night, he said, I know that just checking down to the running back is a positive play. I know I got to get rid of it quicker. He didn't do that against Terrell Suggs in the Ravens defense, and it cost him right there.
And he's the most anxious guy on the Cleveland Browns sideline right now because he knows that he put his defense in this position.
And Michael Campanaro lined up next to Joe Flacco. He doesn't get the pass here. Instead, it's Nick Boyle running up the middle. And the tight end stretches for another Ravens first down.
Great job. You see Joe Flacco with the pump fake coming back and the lineman out in front. All they have to do is run at the guys. They know that they're not as agile as a defensive back in space, so just run right through them, throw your body at them. Pretty good job right there, but Boyle's thinking, I got a touchdown with these two guys right in front of me.
And Joe Flacco hinted this week you might see Campanaro in that Danny Woodhead role. Woodhead going on IR. This pass is complete to Max Williams, who's hit by Jamie Collins, and then Jamar Taylor finishes him off. And when we asked John Harbaugh Friday at the Ravens facility, hey, might we see Campanaro lined up in the backfield? He said, I'm not telling you that. Well, we got our answer right there.
He didn't wink at you?
No.
He didn't give you the wink?
No signals from John Harbaugh. I don't know if I would have asked his brother, though. I would have kept that one to myself if it was Jim. John was at least nice about it. Second and goal for Baltimore.
We got a heavy alignment with an extra tackle over on this side.
Hand off of West. West is tripped up at the line of scrimmage. He saw some daylight up the middle but couldn't stay on his feet. And it's third and goal. Now a late penalty comes in.
You know, you talk to young, emotional players about being smart. You know, don't be the second guy to push and shove. And
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 58, contact after the play, half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Christian Kirksey is called for the penalty. Let's take another look. Tangled up with Ronnie Stanley, and that extra little shove from Kirksey, and that gives the Ravens a first down.
And I love Stanley with the immediate appeal to the official. I've been wronged. I'm 335 pounds and somebody just pushed me a little bit.
Stanley, who used to block for Kizer at Notre Dame, former teammates. So first and goal from the 4-yard line. West, the running back, takes the handoff, running left. West cuts it up and in. Touchdown, Ravens. The former Cleveland Brown, Terrence West, makes DeShone Kizer pay for the fumble, and the Ravens jump out to a 6-0 lead.
With all of the vision that you want from a running back, you are patient to the hole, and then fast through it once you finally see it, and that's exactly what Terrence West did right there. Vision, patience to the hole, and then fast through it.
A third-round pick by the Browns in 2014. Had a nice rookie season, teamed up with Isaiah Crowell, but he was sent to Tennessee the following preseason in a trade, landed here with the Ravens. West and Crowell still very friendly, and right now West has the bragging rights. Hurricanes Harvey and Irma have impacted millions of people. We invite fans to join us in a huddle for relief. Visit redcross.org/NFL or text Red Cross to 90999 to donate $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. Joe Flacco is 6 out of 7 for 52 yards. Did not have a completion the entire second half last week against Cincinnati. But off to a good start here, and the West touchdown following the Kaiser fumble has given Baltimore a 7-0 lead. Peppers takes a knee, and out comes Kaiser, who was sacked 7 times last week. We've seen him holding on to the ball again too long so far today, James.
We asked his head coach Hugh Jackson about it. We asked DeShone Kizer about it. He's well aware of it. You would love for him to get the ball out of his hands. There's nobody really open. And so some of it is on DeShone Kizer. But I like, as a receiver, I got to get open. I got to get open for my guy and fight for it. We saw him right there, still looking down the field, trying to find a receiver, and nobody open.
He said that was his biggest lesson that he learned a week ago, to get rid of the football. And so far, he's been sacked 8 times in his young career. Play action, on the move, has got some time, fires to the sideline, caught by Britt. A flag comes in from the secondary. And it's going to be pass interference against Cleveland.
Kenny Britt.
Pass interference. Offense number 18. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
Kenny Britt is a big physical receiver. Doesn't run probably as well as what he did when they first came into the league 9 years ago. You saw him at the top of the route. Just push Brandon Carr in the back. And Brandon Carr, I talked to him on the field before the game. He said, I love being here. You know, I love playing for the Dallas Cowboys. But being here, you feel like you are a king when you play for this defense.
Last 5 years in Dallas, his first season in Baltimore. The penalty makes it 1st and 20. Crowell. Another flag is down as Crowell is contained at the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation. Offense number 87 was covered on the play. The 5-yard penalty is declined. Second down.
4 penalties, 24 yards for the Browns. That one was declined. Baltimore not penalized yet.
And that's back-to-back penalties by the wide receivers. You cannot cover up the tight end and be on the line of scrimmage. So you have to back off, give him some room. And the officials are really good about, hey, it only has to be what they call a blade of grass.
Second down and 18. Kaiser looking at deep shot down the sideline for Coleman, incomplete. That pass was out of bounds. Carr on the coverage. Back to New York, an NFL Today update with JB and Coach Cowher.
Successful Steelers drive.
Yeah, 9 plays, 78-yard, culminated by this 27-yarder to Martavis Bryant. Ben Roethlisberger found him. Remember, Martavis Bryant sat out all of last year. One of the many weapons he has again this year. They lead 7-0.
Andrew, James, and Steve.
All right, guys, Steelers beat the Browns in week 1. A close game, though. Browns early today continue to dig themselves into holes. 3rd and 18. They've averaged 3rd and 16 so far in this quarter. Kaiser down the middle, and a diving attempt and caught by Rashard Higgins. Called up off the practice squad yesterday, the Colorado State product, with a big pickup of 35 yards.
Now, to call him just a practice squad player is a little bit of a misnomer. He's a 5th-round pick last season. He caught 6 balls. But when you're on the practice squad and you're hungry to get on that active roster, you've been performing your rear end off. And you could see from that play, he came in there, made a big play, got him out of a hole.
Career-long catch by Higgins. Now a screen pass to Duke Johnson, his first touch today. Gets away from one, and Duke Johnson putting the moves on. Inside the 35-yard line before C.J. Mosley finally catches up to him, a gain of 16.
Duke Johnson did a great job once he caught the ball of getting back inside. because everybody's outside. He gets back inside. When he's able to do that, he's able to set up his blockers. Very patient when all that panic is going on around him.
Johnson takes the handoff this time. His first carry of the season. Did not get any carries a week ago. Hugh Jackson said that was just part of the game plan against Pittsburgh, but one of the reasons why they activated Higgins yesterday was because they wanted Johnson to play more running back. Johnson was really a wide receiver last week.
He lined up at running back, what was it, 47 snaps? So, you know, the Ravens saw him out, but now Duke Johnson is back where he finally feels really comfortable, and they go to him on back-to-back plays. One a screen and then one a run in between the tackles.
He's lined up in the slot right now with Crowell, the running back, on 2nd and 7. Kaiser completes this one to his rookie tight end, David Njoku. It was Tony Jefferson on the tackle. One of the many impressive free agent pickups by the Ravens defensively. Team high 9 tackles in the win against Cincinnati.
And a great job when you tackle a big, tall guy. You want to make sure that you're low. You want to make sure you get your head in front. You could put that on a teaching tape for next year. This is how you tackle the big tight ends in the open field.
So Ravens defensive coordinator Dean Pease on his 6th year as the defensive coordinator here in Baltimore. 3rd down and 4. Kaiser off the hands, and Weddle got a hand on it. Did he pick it? He did! What a catch by Weddle off the deflection. The second turnover force by the Ravens defense here in the first quarter.
I was a member of the San Diego Chargers coaching staff when we drafted Eric Weddle out of Utah way back when in 2007, and he was a jack of all trades at Utah. Played a lot on defense, but a lot on offense, kind of like a Jabril Peppers, where he could do so many different things, and you could see the hand-eye coordination, the balance. It hasn't diminished after 11 seasons in the NFL for Eric Weddle.
His 24th career interception. He had 4 a year ago, which led the Ravens. Now at the age of 32, Eric Weddle continues to get it done. He said that Tony Jefferson, who's his new teammate in the secondary, said, "I used to love watching you when I was in high school." And Weddle said, "Man, did that make me feel old."
Trust me, it's okay, the subtle digs that you get about aging in football, because you're still playing. And Eric Weddle talked about the fact coming here kind of revitalized him after 9 years in San Diego, his 10th year being here last year for the first time. He loves it here in Baltimore.
He called it a breath of fresh air to be here with this organization. So the Ravens take over with Javaris Allen on the carry. One of the Ravens lost their helmets.
Marshall Yonda.
Marshall Yonda.
He just wanted us to know he's a good-looking guy.
And the beard, too.
Oh, yeah.
He thought Weddle's beard was getting too much airtime.
And, you know, we asked Eric about his beard, and he said he had to get a bigger chin strap to hold all that fuzz in. And we always think about players, do they have a hard time with the extra hair and the fuzz and all that? I don't have to worry about any of that anymore.
Ravens forced 2 turnovers in the first quarter. They lead at 7-0 after 1.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by State Farm, here to help life go right.
The National Aquarium, located here in Baltimore, with close to 20,000 animals. Not a very good first quarter for the Browns. 4 penalties, 2 turnovers. The latest, the interception by Eric Weddle of Deshaun Kaiser. Start of the second quarter. It's 2nd down and 8 with James Lofton and Steve Tasker, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. Here's a handoff to Campanero. His first carry of the season. And again, this is something you might see a little bit more of. Actually, his 2nd carry of the season. He had 1 last week for 2 yards. But Danny Woodhead on IR. This could be Woodhead light.
But even that, Danny Woodhead had speed. I don't know if he has as much speed as Campanero has, and so you get on that edge and you really stress the defense. All those big 300-pounders who are on the inside, they just had to run beyond the numbers, and they don't like to do that very often.
7th carry of his career. He's on the sideline for 3rd down and 3. Play action, Flacco to the tight end Williams, fighting for the first down. We'll see where they spot it. It looks like he's got a first down.
He tried to get that ball in his right arm and really extend it up and really was aware of exactly where the down marker was. It was in his vision. He's going to have the ball in the right arm, which is the correct arm to have it away from the defender, and so he's able to stick it forward just a little bit and get it right over the down and distance line.
It's good for a first down. From the Baltimore 38-yard line. Joe Flacco 7 of 8 for 55 yards. Looking to throw again. Trying to take a deep shot for Mike Wallace. Nobody's there except for Jason McCourty, who comes down with the interception. It looked like Wallace may have pulled up on that route. McCourty fouled it down the field, and the Browns get the football right back. Going back to last year, this is the 8th consecutive game that Joe Flacco has thrown an interception, tied for the longest active streak along with Phillip Rivers. The Ravens team record is 10 games in a row. That was set by Anthony Wright. McCourty has his 14th career interception. And the Browns offense, which has struggled, returns to the field. They'll get it at their own 8-yard line. Crowell on the pitch. And Crowell with nowhere to go. Judon and Urban in on the tackle as we go back to the interception.
Jabril Peppers starts deep, so he has vision. Both wide receivers, they're going to try and run a crossing route, but he doesn't step forward, and it's a too deep look because on the other side, McCourty has a deep half, Peppers had a deep half on his side, so it's actually a great job by Greg Williams of disguising a look. When you think it's 3 deep, it was really 2 deep, and McCourty played his deep half to perfection.
Wallace tried to get back there, but it was too late. On second down, Kaiser. He'll run it. He's got some good speed, and he slides for a Cleveland first down. Terrell Suggs nearly got him in the backfield, but Kaiser was able to step up and elude Suggs.
So let me see if I got this right. If you're scouting quarterbacks, you go back and you say, okay, were they 3-sport athletes? Baseball, basketball, do they know how to slide? Because if you have a kid who never played baseball, the only time he played was in Little League and he hit home runs all the time, he never had to learn how to slide. But Kaiser, obviously, good slide right there.
And at Toledo Central Catholic. Pressure coming, and Mosley with the sack. First sack of the season for C.J. Mosley. There's a flag down in the secondary that came in late, and it's a hold against the Ravens.
Holding, defense number 22. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's on Jimmy Smith.
So you're thinking, okay, why does he hold? Because he probably had his eyes in the wrong place. If his eyes are on the wide receiver, he won't hold. But so much of that play to start looks like run. And so once Coleman got past him at the line of scrimmage, he reached out and he grabbed him so he wouldn't get too big of a gap on him.
So take the sack off the board. And the Browns are given an automatic first down. 1st and 10. They trail 7-0. Duke Johnson on the carry. And he is shoved out by Patrick Owasso. We go back to New York, an NFL Today update.
Capitalizing on a penalty, Bill.
Yeah, penalty 49 yards to Martavis Bryant. But I'll tell you what, Smith-Schuster will take this from Ben, his second touchdown pass of the day. And Pittsburgh goes up 14-0 over the Minnesota Vikings early in the second quarter.
Andrew, Coach James, and Steve Tasker.
Coach James.
Coach James. Yeah, I did coach a little while. Yeah, and it's, you know, Eric Weddle walked in and said, hey, Coach. And you guys kind of looked at me like, what?
Second down and 10. Kaiser trying to go to the air. Steps up. Throws one in the vicinity of Higgins. It's nearly intercepted. That was Brandon Carr down there who got his hands on that one. And it's 3rd down and long.
Brandon Carr is frustrating Kenny Britt. A couple of plays ago we saw where Kenny Britt pushed off on Brandon Carr. On the outside, he's supposed to run deep to open up the corner route where his wide receiver comes from the inside, Higgins, and he can't get off the line of scrimmage because Brandon Carr is doing such a great job of jamming him and harassing him down the field.
All 5 of the Browns' third downs have been of at least 10 yards. 3rd and 10 here. And the tackle is made short of the first down by Mosley after the catch by Higgins. So the turnover by Flacco does not lead to any points for the Browns. The punter, Britton Colquitt, is out with Campanaro back deep.
I still like that throw by DeShone Kizer on that last play because he realizes he's under pressure. Get the ball out of your hands, and Higgins is doing a nice job for him in the slot.
This is a spiraling kick, but a short one. Campanaro comes up to the 32 and out of bounds at the 35. Shoved out by Sammy Coates. It's 7-0 Ravens. From the brains behind The Big Bang Theory comes the new comedy Young Sheldon. Series premiere Monday, September 25th after The Big Bang Theory. Only CBS. 10:43 to go first half. Ravens lead the Browns 7-0. Joe Flacco in the shotgun, hands it off to Terrence West. West has some room on the left side. West spins his way for a Baltimore first down. Jason McCourty made the tackle, but not before West picks up a dozen.
You used to always think about blocking, you knock somebody down, but no one on the Cleveland Browns was on the ground, but a great job of just stretching the play, getting to the corner. And Jabril Peppers up close, but he's got to be able to turn that play back in, get his shoulder on the outside of the runner.
Last week, the Ravens ran the ball 70% of the time, the highest rate in their team history. So far today, 10 passes, 8 runs, make it 9 runs, and this one is going nowhere. Javaris Allen is spun back. Derek Kindred, the safety, coming in to make the tackle for a loss of 5.
So you advance the ball forward. You take this loss, but if you're the Baltimore Ravens, immediately you have to start thinking about play calling and how do I kind of cut this deficit in half. Joe Flacco's been good at getting the ball out of his hands. They've seen some pocket movement. You take this ball from the gun. We saw a lot of plays where we caught the ball right here, right in the middle, while we were at practice on Friday.
Javaris Allen lined up at the top of your screen on 2nd and 14. Flacco buying some time, fires, and a catch is made by Benjamin Watson. He went up high to get it. The 3rd catch today for Watson. This one goes for 21 yards.
And I love seeing Ben Watson at practice because I remember when he was at the Senior Bowl 14 years ago. So you get a veteran who's been around this long and you get a pass that's a little high, he's probably thinking everybody in the building is watching to see if I still got a little bit of a vertical left. And nice job by Joe Flacco getting the ball over a couple of defenders right in front of him. And Benjamin Watson, he probably could have touched the rim on that last one.
He's 6'3", 251. Used his big frame to go up and get that one. Flacco back to the air. Wide open is Watson. Slips a tackle, but can't stay on his feet. 4th catch today for Watson. He picks up 23 more yards.
Great job because from here to right here, it's wide open because Jabril Peppers is so deep in the back end. Benjamin Watson releases, and Jabril Peppers is so deep on his initial alignment. There's just a void area there. Great run action fake. You got to credit the offensive linemen because they make the linebackers step up.
Saw Peppers playing very deep last week to take the deep threat away from the Steelers. Greg Williams told us after the carry by Allen that he expected to play a little bit closer to the line today, but on that play, he was back deep and it cost him.
Well, he's trying to match up on the outside with the press coverage, but he still doesn't want that home run ball being thrown down the sideline or even up the seams. But that time, you hit him right in the soft spot, in between the linebacker stepping up and Jabril Peppers being out in the inner harbor.
Patrick Ricard, the fullback, is into the game right now on 2nd and 6. Flacco again rolling right, fires, caught, touchdown! It's Javaris Allen. His 3rd career receiving touchdown and his first touchdown since 2015. Did not score a year ago, but he gets in the end zone here.
That's just about the 5th, sixth time where we've seen Joe Flacco on the move outside the pocket area. So his legs are in check, and getting him out, getting his vision there, and a nice dart right at the end. You know, there were so many purple jerseys there. I couldn't tell who he was trying to throw it to at first.
Looked like the icky shuffle there from Javaris
A
Allen.
little bit of the icky shuffle, a little bit of throwback Sunday.
Justin Tucker with the extra point. Ravens increase their lead. It's 14-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AARP. Real possibilities. Tide Pods. It's got to be Tide. And by Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach.
Back in Baltimore, Joe Flacco and the Ravens lead the Browns 14-0. Flacco is 10 out of 12 for 107 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And so much was made of how people said he looked stiff, he didn't look good against Cincinnati. Flacco has been on the move all day, throwing very crisply, and quickly is coming back to his normal form as we go down to Steve Tasker.
Guys, a lot of guys mentioned it to us in the production meetings of how close-knit this Ravens team is. It's interesting to note that they took a couple of trips. The team took the rookies to Gettysburg, and then they took, after the final cuts, they took them to the Pentagon and made one final trip to the African-American Museum of History. All that made these players talk about things away from the football field that had nothing to do with football, and it's made them get off to this fast start. It's also helped them in the locker room be cohesive and play for one another. You can really see it and feel it when you talk to this team.
Well, Steve, Hugh Jackson, for the moment, has made a quarterback change as Kevin Hogan is into the game. Now, last year, Hugh Jackson did use Hogan just as a kind of a change-up to run the football a little bit. He's throwing on first down, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Seth DeValve. And Hogan is staying on the field. Well, James, this is an interesting development. Kaiser's first 4 possessions: punt, fumble, interception, punt.
And I wonder if Hugh Jackson is just letting Deshaun Kaiser catch his breath, step back, take a series off, or is this a permanent change for the entire game?
Oh, now we have an update from the Cleveland sideline. Kaiser has a migraine, and his return is questionable. So Hogan, the quarterback, playing in just his 5th NFL game, has a wide-open DeValve, who makes the catch. Renault back deep. DeValve cuts it up and in, and a big play by the Browns, 48 yards to Seth DeValve. C.J. Mosley finally brought him down.
Pocket's there. Once the pocket is there, you have the ease of kind of scanning the field. And Seth DeValve, you're looking at all the wide receivers. You're thinking, we got to cover the wide receivers, got to cover the wide receivers. And then you let a tight end get behind your defense. 12 guys on the field at the start of that snap.
Hogan again looking for Coleman. Diving catch at the 5-yard line. Now they're saying no. The ball hit the ground. Coleman thought he had it. There is a flag down.
I love it. Well, 12 guys on the field.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. However, we do have 12 men on the field defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Coleman still pleading his case to the officials, saying he made the catch. We'll see if Hugh Jackson elects to challenge. He does have the challenge flag in his hand.
And I think it's worth a challenge here with 6.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
There you see Carl Davis did not get off the field in time. That's the 12th man. And here's a look at the play by Coleman.
Yeah, it moves, comes out a little bit. The receiver, you almost feel like the ball's in your hand and you're pleading your case. That time he got Hugh Jackson to throw the flag. But a nice job by Kevin Hogan taking a page out of the Tom Brady book of football. They got 12 guys on. We're going fast, get the ball snapped, and then go for the big play. We saw Aaron Rodgers do it a couple of weeks ago. So Kevin Hogan, who is a Stanford grad, has been a quick study.
Oh, here we go.
I couldn't help it.
James Lofton, also a Stanford grad. They lost last night to San Diego State.
Yeah, we're reeling. Go Aztecs. So I live in San Diego, so I can jump on that bandwagon too.
So Hugh Jackson did throw the challenge flag. You can see that the replay tablet has been brought out onto the field for Gene Steratore to look at.
Now, when
see Davis, bottom of your screen,
there he is.
late to get off. But it doesn't appear this one will be overturned. Remember last week, Hugh Jackson called a timeout, then challenged a play, lost
After
2
review,
timeouts.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It is an incomplete pass. The penalty does make the replay a first down. Cleveland will be charged with his first timeout of the half.
So Hugh Jackson didn't win the challenge, but he just got a hug from Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
I guess Suggs didn't want to wait for the end of the game. Jackson spent 2 years in Baltimore as the quarterback's coach. First 2 years of Joe Flacco's career.
And, you know, he compared DeShone Kizer to Joe Flacco a little bit. He said, you know, physically, they give you the same thing. Good size, good strong arm. Joe Flacco, 10 years into his career, has never been to a Pro Bowl. But he has been Super Bowl MVP. And so if you ask guys who get to play 10 years in this league, would you want 3 or 4 Pro Bowls? Or would you like to win a Super Bowl and be the MVP? I think people would say, give me the Super Bowl and the MVP award, because I think you get a truck with that, don't you?
I believe you do. So the Browns lose a timeout. They have 2 remaining, but it's 1st and 5 after the penalty for too many men on the field. Kevin Hogan, the quarterback. DeShone Kizer has a migraine. His return is questionable. Hogan will keep this one himself. Trying to get around to the right side, and Hogan picks up the first down. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Now, if you remember our meeting with Hugh Jackson, I posed this question to him. I said, if both your quarterbacks drink too much Gatorade at halftime and they can't go in the second half, who gets you through the game? And he didn't want to go there. He didn't want to talk about 2 quarterbacks not making it through a game. Now, he's down to 1 right now. So I don't know if I'd be running him on quarterback runs.
Cody Kessler inactive today. The Browns do carry 3 quarterbacks, but Kessler for the 2nd straight week is not dressed. Crowell with nowhere to go. And you can see that all 3 quarterbacks on this Browns roster yet to have a win as a starter. Last year, in the only game the Browns won, RG3, Robert Griffin III, was the starter. He's not with the team this year. 2nd down and 9.
Johnny Manziel won one a couple of years ago. He's no longer with the team or the league, as a matter.
Play action. Hogan with pressure coming. Steps up, fires into the end zone, and it is caught! Touchdown! David Njoku! The rookie with his first NFL touchdown off a strike from Kevin Hogan.
That's 2 balls that Kevin Hogan has thrown, and he's thrown what I call away from the defender. That inside defender's coming to make the play, and he throws it to the outside shoulder. Nice job stepping up in the pocket. We saw the same thing on the near completion to Corey Coleman on the other side. So Kevin Hogan has that ability to place the ball exactly where he wants, or at least I think exactly where he wants.
First career passing touchdown for Kevin Hogan. Now the extra point for the rookie Zane Gonzalez, and it's good. Baltimore's lead has been cut in half. So who gets to keep the ball? First career passing touchdown for Hogan, first career receiving touchdown for Njoku.
Unfortunately, you got to cut it in half.
Browns are on the board. First points allowed this season by the Baltimore Ravens. Kickoff by Gonzalez with Campanero back deep, and it will be a touchback. Well, the kids are all back in school, and this past offseason, the Ravens hosted School Transformation and Volunteer Day as they helped transform Marianne Winterling Elementary School in southwest Baltimore. Both current and former Ravens players lended a hand to refurbish the school's cafeteria and gymnasium, paint hallways, and enhance the school's exterior. So Joe Flacco back to work. Baltimore's rushed for 29 yards, but Flacco is 10 out of 12 for 107 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Terrence West, who has a rushing touchdown, is the running back, and he'll get it from Flacco here with some room to run, and Terrence West muscles his way up close to the 40-yard line for a Baltimore first down. Jamie Collins on the tackle.
And you used to have this saying, dodge one, split two. Watch the vision here. He's going to have, not way over there, but he had 2 guys coming up, and they're coming from the outside. You just split them. You can't fake out 2 players.
Joe Flacco, 9 of his last 10 for 90 yards, a touchdown and an interception. So he's already matched his completion total from a week ago in Cincinnati. And he's now surpassed it as he's got 11 completions on 13 attempts. Jamie Collins with another tackle for the Browns defense. Greg Williams told us that he thinks Jamie Collins could be the best linebacker he's ever coached, and this is the 27th year in the NFL for Greg Williams.
You know, when you're on a staff and you look at what you have, you try and build players up, you try and make them good players. Jamie Collins was a heck of a player with the Patriots. The trade surprised everybody last year, and he was a heck of a player once he got to the Browns.
Flacco gets rid of it, and it's broken up. McCourty on the coverage. Fans want a flag, and they're not going to get it.
In Cleveland, that's considered a great play. In Baltimore, it's considered a little bit of interference. But I go back to Jeremy Maclin. You come back and you make that catch. The ball's a little late. That timing is a little bit off. You know, that's one of those plays that while Joe Flacco was out for 6 weeks, Ryan Mallett was working on that timing.
So that sets up 3rd down and 9. Pressure coming. Flacco tripped up and sacked. The first man to get him was James Burgess. And the Ravens sent out their punt team.
Great timing on the blitz. You come around, but you get 2 guys blocking 1. And once the back picks up the wrong guy, he's not going to leave him because he doesn't know if the offensive lineman is going to leave him, but they did a nice job in a stunt where one guy picks, the other guy comes around.
Burgess tripped him up. Kirksey finished him off. And on 4th and 19, Sam Cook is out. Peppers, the deep man. Good kick by Cook. Driving Peppers back to the 14. Peppers across the 20. And with a flag coming in, Peppers is tackled at the 22-yard line. The flag is right in front of the Ravens sideline.
And Njoku, who caught the touchdown, was a gunner on that play, couldn't get down the field. And I think he was blocked while he was out of bounds.
Bam Bradley remains on the ground, the rookie linebacker out of Pittsburgh. Still waiting for the call from Gene Steratore, and Bradley remains down on the ground as the Ravens training staff attends to him.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Kicking team player number 85, continuously blocking an opponent out of bounds. It's a penalty half the distance to the goal. First down, Cleveland.
That is Njoku, and there is Bradley, undrafted rookie. Played high school football at Trotwood High School in Ohio, which is the same high school as Baltimore linebacker coach Don Martindale. And he's able to slowly hobble off the field.
Yeah, they are really proud of the number of free agent linebackers who come in here, make the team, make contributions, and play well. And Don Martindale's nickname is Wink.
Yes, it is.
We all call him Wink Martindale.
So Bradley with some help now to the bench. 2:47 to go in the first half. The penalty backs up the Browns with poor field position once again. Their average start is their own 17, and now Bradley's leaving the field. Meanwhile, it's still Kevin Hogan at quarterback for Cleveland. Deshaun Kaiser's return is questionable because of a migraine. They'll start this drive on their own 7-yard line with 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. Duke Johnson, the running back. Hogan in trouble. He's got to get out of the end zone. He does. There is a flag down. Terrell Suggs finished off Hogan.
And if that holding takes place in the end zone, it's 2 points for the Ravens. Suggs is saying don't take the penalty, so it must have been outside of the end zone.
Legal use of hands,
Oh,
offense,
okay.
number 72. Penalty is declined, 2nd down.
That's on Sean Coleman, who's making just his 2nd NFL start today.
He just gets his hands right up around the face mask. And they weren't there long, but it was in full view of the officiating crew.
Engaged with Tyus Bauer, the rookie linebacker out of Houston. Browns trying to just get some room, get out of the shadow of their own end zone. And not much doing on that play, but the last drive for Cleveland did look good, directed by Kevin Hogan.
When you saw that ball coming out of Kevin Hogan's hand, clean pocket. Here's Hogan using his legs, something he did great when he was a Stanford Cardinal. And then the first touchdown pass and first touchdown reception for 2 first and a 2nd-year player.
2-minute warning here in Baltimore. The Browns trail the Ravens 14-7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Blade Runner 2049. In theaters October 6th. And by Taco Bell and the Steak Quesarito Box.
Great crowd for the Ravens home opener here in Baltimore, and they are loud as out of the 2-minute warning, it's 3rd down and 10 for the Cleveland Browns.
And a little bit of coaching 101. Harbaugh has already talked to Mike Weatherford, the field judge, who's on their sideline, that if this ball's caught in bounds short of the 1st down, I'm going to use one of my 3 timeouts.
Hogan in his own end zone, steps up, throws on the run, a dangerous pass, middle of the field, and it's incomplete. Intended target was Rashard Higgins, and Lardarius Webb, now in his 9th year at a Nichols State, was able to break it up. Harbaugh does not need to use a timeout because of the incomplete pass, and out comes the punter, Britton Colquitt.
Well, nice pocket movement by Hogan again, and I thought Higgins had a chance at this ball. He kind of let it come into his body, didn't really pluck it with his hands, but Webb right on his back, making it difficult.
So the Ravens should have good field position with Campanaro awaiting the punt at his own 46-yard line. Remember, Browns had a punt blocked last week for a touchdown. And before Colquitt gets it off, there is a flag down and a false start.
False start. Offense number 50. Half the distance to the goal. 4th down.
That's the rookie B.J. Bello. That block punt was after the first drive of the season for the Browns, and special teams coach Chris Daber said it's like Christmas Day opening up your presents, and the first present is a box of rocks. Rough start for the special teams unit of the Browns this season, and now Colquitt will have to kick it again from way back of his end zone.
A lump of coal in your stocking. Tough household, box of rocks for Christmas. This puts Colquitt's heels all the way back on the end line.
They're having an issue with the clock. That's not us. That's
there are not 53
clock.
minutes to play. In the there we go. Well, it was 152, which adds up to 53 in a crazy sort of way. That's, the young Sheldon, he'd be able to handle that one.
Very nice. Quickly adapting to the CBSI, James Lofton.
Well, young Sheldon also grew up in Texas. He should be more of a football fan. 1:53 on the clock.
All right, we're ready. Colquitt gets this one away. Campanaro from his own 43. Midfield and hit hard. And taken down at the 46. It was Matthew Days who made the initial hit on Campanaro, and there's another flag down.
During the kick, holding number 48 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Baltimore.
That's on Patrick Owasso, the second-year man out of Portland State. This was the aforementioned punt block a week ago in the opener.
Yeah, you don't want to hear the double thud. That is the worst sound, especially if you were trying to block somebody and you hear that double thud, you know that you have not done your job.
Browns defense did their job, only allowed 2 touchdowns, but there is Chris Tabor, the special teams coach, and John Harbaugh knows a thing or two about special teams. Eagles special teams coordinator from 98 to 2006. 34 points scored on drives started at 2 minutes or less last year. That was the 3rd most in the NFL. Now the penalty backs the Ravens up to their own 31, but they do have all 3 timeouts. And this pass is complete to Javaris Allen. Lunges out for a first down to the 43-yard line. No huddle for the Ravens offense, a gain of 11.
They would have had the ball beyond midfield, and you would not have had the concern of time. They need to be quick, but not in a hurry right now.
1:20 to go. Flacco to Watson again for another Ravens first down. 5th catch today by Benjamin Watson. Derek Kindred on the tackle. Timeout is called by Baltimore. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. 2 timeouts left for the Ravens. They have it 1st and 10 at the Cleveland 44-yard line. Pressure coming. Flacco gets rid of it. It's incomplete. Intended for Perriman over the middle. And that was Jamie Collins on the coverage for the Browns.
Jamie Collins is the floater here. He's going to be right in the middle of the field. He unloads on Perriman. Perriman, I think, had one eye on the ball and one eye on Jamie Collins.
17th attempt of the first half for Flacco, which matches his total from all of last week in the win over Cincinnati. 2nd down and 10, 1:12 to go. Go to Allen again, and there's Collins right on the spot, making the tackle at the 40-yard line. Joe Schobert brought the pressure. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from AARP. That was the 2nd timeout called for by Baltimore, so they have 1 remaining, and it's 3rd down and 5 with 1:07 to go. Allen joins Flacco in the backfield. Flacco and a miscommunication with Perriman. Flacco threw a deep, Perriman cut to the sideline, and John Harbaugh sends out Sam Cook to punt.
I'm going with Perriman on this because identical routes were run on the outside, and on this side you had Mike Wallace. He ran the same 12-yard out that Perriman ran, and they had the same bump and run coverage. So Joe Flacco was just being cautious right here, and he wanted to see what Justin Tucker could do because he did this in pregame warm-up.
Sam Cook came out to hold, not to punt. Tucker's going to attempt a 58-yarder. He was 10 of 10 from 50-plus last year, and that one is no good. He had made 12 in a row from 50 yards or longer, but that streak is now over as Tucker is not able to convert, and because of the long attempt, the Browns now have good field position and 2 timeouts left here in the first half.
Snap is just a little high, and when you're the kicker, you do have your eyes right on the holder, and he reaches up, and you realize, oh, he's reached up. Maybe I have to hold on a second, and just a little bit late launch point, that ball never comes back in, doesn't draw it back inside.
Don't forget Verizon halftime reports coming up with our guys back in New York. Scores and highlights on the Verizon halftime report. So the Browns will start this drive at their own 48-yard line. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Hogan remains the quarterback.
Hogan trying to identify the defense with those 2 deep safeties.
Hogan, high pass is reeled in by Higgins, who runs out of bounds close to the chains. So Rashard Higgins has been a big part of the game plan here in the first half, just off the practice squad yesterday.
You know, when we go to practice and somebody catches our eye, we say, hey, I like that guy. I hadn't really heard of him. Well, Rashard Higgins is doing it on Sunday. He's catching our eye. He's caught a deep pass down the middle, and he's been the target for Kevin Hogan. Remember, these guys, Hogan, they were on the practice squad. They were giving him the Ravens look during the course of the week.
Gain of 8, third catch for Higgins. It's 2nd and 2. Hogan, another strike right back to Higgins, and he's got a Cleveland first down. They do not call timeout here, so the clock continues to tick. 40 seconds to go.
And it's no surprise. Higgins, Hogan, like I said, they were backups on the practice squad. They were Joe Flacco and
a false start called against Cleveland with 29 seconds to go.
False start. Offense number 72. By rule, a foul that prevents the snap inside of 1 minute carries with it a 10-second runoff. Cleveland has elected to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts to avoid the 10-second runoff. So it'll be first down and 15 Cleveland. They have 1 timeout remaining in the half.
A great explanation by Gene Steratore. They don't have to lose the 10 seconds if they call a timeout. So 29 seconds on the clock, but just 1 timeout left for Cleveland. You see Zane Gonzalez warming up on the sideline. He's a rookie 7th-round pick out of Arizona State. Last year, he made a career-long 59-yard field goal for the Sun Devils. We asked Hugh Jackson last night, what do you feel comfortable with Gonzalez? And he said, I'd like to get to the 35-yard line. Anything from the 35-yard line and in, I feel good with the rookie, who only attempted 1 field goal last week. He made it from 24 yards out. Put a second back on the clock, so 30 seconds to go. Hogan on the move. Throwing, it's intercepted! Tyus Bowser, the pick! And it's the 3rd turnover today, forced by the Ravens defense. The first career interception for the rookie out of Houston.
sometimes the most important thing is just get us to the next down, and Kevin Hogan was unable to do that. He got a little greedy once he got out of the pocket. He started thinking, I can make a play, I can make a play. Just get us to third down at that point. And then, to make matters worse, Kevin Hogan gets near the tackle and he gets plastered. Like I said, one quarterback has a migraine. You don't need your second quarterback and your only quarterback available trying to make a play on the ball.
Bowser getting more snaps this week in place of the injured Zadarius Smith out with a knee sprain. A 27-yard return for the rookie. So now Ravens one timeout, 19 seconds to go. Flacco throwing a sideline route to Macklin, and he gets out of bounds. Tackle made by Jamar Taylor with 15 seconds to go.
Jeremy Macklin was fortunate there because the rule is you have to go out of bounds going forward. He went out of bounds kind of stumbling backwards, and the officials could have very easily had the roll the clock, continue to run it, but they did not.
So Tucker might get another chance after missing the 58-yard field goal a moment ago. It's second down and 9. Hand it off to Allen. Browns defense not expecting it. Allen has room. Allen inside the 20. Allen still going. Down inside the 5. John Harbaugh will call timeout with 5 seconds to go. A 37-yard run for number 37.
Boy, just a great job by the running back having that vision and also realizing, hey, I got to just turn this thing on. Didn't have the final gear. I think it's just a 3-speed transmission in that engine right there.
All right, James, 5 seconds to go. You got to take a shot in the end zone, but no timeouts.
You wish you had that 6'5" receiver that you could get him the ball to right away. Why not run it here? if you don't get it in, see, if you were playing on the road, you could call a run here because you don't get booed on the road.
That's a risky proposition.
I know it's risky. I'm a high-risk guy.
Apparently. Well, they do have Benjamin Watson, who's 6'3".
Yeah, but he's not a quick separation guy.
It's Wallace on the top of your screen. Macklin in the slot. Perriman, who's a big target, 6'2" at the bottom. Flacco throws it. Caught! Touchdown! Jeremy Macklin!
Flacco told us Jeremy Macklin wins at the line of scrimmage, and he gives you such a good, quick read. And we're talking about just being right in front of Joe Flacco, 1, 2, 3 steps, and you can see that ball's coming out because you saw the separation at the end. That's the same thing that Joe Flacco saw from the sideline. Now, every scoring play is reviewed. You can see the Browns waving their hands going, no, he didn't catch it. No, there's some movement there. There's a little bit of movement, but it looks like Macklin's hands are securely under the football.
With zeros on the clock, and to follow your point, Flacco said, before I hit my last step, I can see if Macklin is open. And on that replay, you saw, before he went to the ground, he was able to fire that one to Macklin. And again, they will look at this. All scoring plays are reviewed. They need to confirm it.
This one is being extra reviewed because they're reviewed, but they don't normally bring out the tablet. Now they're bringing out the tablet. So you get confirmed or stands. And the fans will erupt with either one of those two. They will have some mighty groans if they hear it's been overturned. Lots of pocket movement by Joe Flacco in the first half.
And he's looked very smooth.
Has it, down to the ground. There's nothing there that says the ball's loose.
Brian Body Calhoun had the coverage for the Browns.
He's yanking at the ball, trying to tell the official it's out, but the official said it's in. So when you start with that premise, then you have to get enough information by looking at all these little cut-ups to say that it's not good. And it's taking his time. A lot of people want to get to the halftime refreshment area.
Macklin told us Friday that he really ramped up the reps this week with Flacco. And they feel like they're continuing to get on the same page, and this was their most progress they had made this week at practice. Of course, Flacco was out the entire preseason. Macklin signed in June. They did not have a lot of time together.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Outside.
Second touchdown as a Raven for Jeremy Macklin. And what a half for Flacco. 16 of 21, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Tucker will try to tack on the extra point. He's never missed one his entire career. Keep in mind, the Ravens get the ball to start the second half.
A lot of standing around, which just gives you an extra long break before the half. Spent 2 minutes waiting for the review, a couple more minutes waiting for the PAT attempt. Because the clock has double zeros on it right now.
Would the game clock operator please put 1 second on the game clock? When the touchdown occurred, there was 1 second remaining in the half. We will have 1 second remain in the half after the extra point. 0-1 on the game clock, please.
Because the PAT is an untimed down, so you still have a kickoff. This gets back to, remember when the clock said 53 minutes, and then they went to 52 seconds, and then they went to the, and I was going to say, what does an extra second mean?
Means a kickoff coming for Justin Tucker after he tries to tack on the extra point here out of the hold of Sam Cook. The long snapper is Morgan Cox. And And it's good, 21-7 in favor of the Ravens. Their offense has scored more points in the first half than they did all of last week.
Now, not only will we have a kickoff, but if he kicks this ball into the end zone and it's not run out, then we'll have another snap.
Now this could be squib kick territory, wouldn't you say?
I would say that'd be a smart move. But it's still that kind of funky look where you squib kick it. They could toss the ball back to Peppers. You know, a lot of teams will do that. And then, you know, your coverage is off a little bit. And
Jerry Rosberg, you saw him getting the special teams unit ready now in his 10th season as the Ravens special teams coordinator. He was with Cleveland in that same role from 2001 to 2006.
He was on fire at practice.
Yes, he was.
On Friday. I think there might have been a couple of guys who, you know, weren't responding exactly like he might have wanted.
Things were said that we cannot repeat. Look at this. The Ravens, they have scooped that one up at the bottom. Baltimore has gone 252 games without recovering an onside kick. That obviously wasn't the intention right here. They did not get it there. Cleveland fell on it, so the streak's intact. Ravens lead 21-7 at the half. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Ravens off to a good start in their home opener. They lead the Browns 21-7. Back in the booth with Hall of Famer James Lofton. I'm Andrew Catalon. A lot of the naysayers this week saying Joe Flacco didn't look good against Cincinnati. He's still rusty.
Right.
He looked all right to me.
Well, the one thing that the Ravens did exceptionally well last week is they ran the ball really well. So what do you do if you run the ball well? You use play action. You get outside the pocket. 21 pass attempts for Joe Flacco in the first half. And the eyeball test told me he threw at least half of them from outside the pocket.
Let's take a look at the first half highlight brought to you by DirecTV. And again, the Ravens defense getting the job done. This late second quarter interception by Tyus Bowser off the pass from Kevin Hogan. The nice return gave the Ravens good field position. And they capped it off with that very late touchdown pass from Joe Flacco to Jeremy Maclin. And again, the Ravens will get the ball first to begin the second half after they deferred the coin toss. Baltimore trying to run their record to 2-0 before they run off to London next week, where they will see the Jacksonville Jaguars. Michael Campanaro back deep for Baltimore to receive the second half kickoff from Zane Gonzalez. Browns have lost 13 consecutive games on the road. Their last win on the road was October of 2015 here in Baltimore when they beat the Ravens 33-30 in overtime. And Campanaro will take a knee. Let's go down to Steve Tasker.
I spoke to Hugh Jackson. He's coming off the field, and obviously his message to his team, he said, listen, we can play with these guys. Offensively, I'm very happy. Defensively, I'm very happy, except the offense is turning the football over. I also asked him about Deshaun Kaiser. He said he was going to evaluate him at halftime, but it's interesting to note, after halftime, Deshaun Kaiser has not emerged from the Browns locker room as of now.
That's a good note, Steve. So for now, it'll continue to be Kevin Hogan, who in that first half was 4 of 7 for 84 yards and a touchdown, but he did have that interception we just showed you, which led to 7 for the Ravens. First and 10 from the 25-yard line. Here's West, and he picks up a yard. How about Joe Flacco in that first half, James Lofton?
And we talked about Joe Flacco outside the pocket. There it is, right before our eyes. Joe Flacco on the run. You know, we saw him run at practice. Remember that play where they were about the 25-yard line? He ran it in for a touchdown, and I said, Joe's just trying to show off his legs. But that time, showed off his legs and his arm. Pinpoint pass to Jeremy Maclin. And I like that 3D graphic there. I would play video games more often if I could use that.
360 replay you saw there. Now there's an injured Raven down on the field, and it's Marshall Yonda, the 11th year man out of Iowa, who's gone to 6 straight Pro Bowls for Baltimore. Let's take a look at what happened.
You got Marshall Yonder right there, circled.
Engaged with Danny Shelton.
It's a lower leg injury. Normally guys get rolled up on, but you see just on his left leg, just a hair. And I say just a hair from up here because it wasn't my leg. But if it's your leg that's getting rolled up on, you feel it.
It was Trevon Coley who got rolled up into Yonda. A good sign that he's able to walk off under his own power, but it's a slow walk.
Did you see him swat away the hands of the trainer trying to help him? Get your hands off me. I don't need your assistance.
Last year, Pro Football Focus had Yonda as the #1 right guard in the NFL. He is a big part of this Ravens offense. They will take a look at him on the sideline, and to replace him comes Tony Bergstrom. He's lined up next to the right tackle, Austin Howard. It's 2nd down and 8. Play action. Flacco, the screen to Williams, the tight end, gets away from one, still on his feet, and he's got a Baltimore first down. Poor tackling by the Browns defensively. It's a gain of 13.
At tight end for the Ravens, Benjamin Watkins, standout guy. He's been around for 14 years. Nick Boyle, third-year player. Max Williams, also a third-year player. They did draft him in the 2nd round, so it shouldn't be a surprise, but it's a little bit of a surprise when you finally get a chance to see a guy do stuff with the ball. So you can see the ability there when he was in traffic running with it.
1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. West. And he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Coley makes the tackle. Browns defensively last week held Le'Veon Bell to 32 yards rushing, and for the game, Pittsburgh only gained 35 yards on the ground. So far today, the Ravens have 69 yards rushing, but this defense continues to play well for Greg Williams. He has tried to, as he told us last night, change the culture of the Browns defensively, and the players have responded. Now, you saw Yonda walking off the field, so he's going to go into the locker room to get a closer look. As Javaris Allen on the carry, it'll be 3rd down for Baltimore.
The Cleveland Browns have a commitment, and that commitment is 7, 8 guys in the box up around the line of scrimmage, and once you do that, you're going to have some void areas in the play action passing game. So if your quarterback fakes the ball, rolls out, you're going to see some void areas there, just like we saw the play to Benjamin Watson early in the first half where Jabril Peppers is lined up 25 yards deep. There's the void area. So they have to be cognizant of those areas. Now there are 8 guys up at the line of scrimmage.
On 3rd and 6, quick pass incomplete. Jamar Taylor had a great break on that Flacco pass. And Sam Cook will come out for the Ravens to punt.
Yeah, you were shown a blitz, but on the outside, the corners backed off. People dropped out. Joe Flacco gets the ball out of his hands. Might have had a little more time to scan the field, but a nice job in coverage by the Cleveland Browns.
3rd punt for Sam Cook with Peppers awaiting it at his own 10-yard line. There's a flag down. Peppers lets this one go. It's into the end zone. And the flag is down at the 45-yard line. It was 4th and 6.
Yeah, defense in the neutral zone there. We'll probably re-punt this because this punt sailed all the way into the end zone. Would give Cleveland the ball at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, will not give Baltimore a first down.
Yeah, but you want to pin them back. Cook is good at dropping that ball inside the 15, 10-yard line.
Defense number 24 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
That's on Ibrahim Campbell, the 3rd-year man out of Northwestern.
Now, all the coverage guys for Baltimore going, we got to run again.
8 penalties for 45 yards against the Browns. Let's go down to Steve Tasker.
Yeah, on Friday, as we watched the Ravens practice, Jerry Rossberg was all over his punt team, the one we see on the field right now. He was not putting up with it. They were at a flat practice. He was in their face hard to do a better job of expanding their coverage and doing all the little things that there were. He was all over him. I've never seen a special teams coach get into his group like he did on Friday, but it's going to pay off here, it looks like.
So 4th and 1 This is a high kick. Peppers originally called for a fair catch. Lets it bounce. It takes a Cleveland hop to the 17-yard line. 12:09 to go, third quarter, 21-7 Baltimore. DeShone Kizer started the game at quarterback for the Browns. 6 of 11, 81 yards, and he just walked back out. This is live, walking back out to the Browns sideline, so that's a good sign. But to start this drive, it's Kevin Hogan at quarterback. Meanwhile, we just spoke to the Ravens. No update yet on Marshall Yonda. As soon as we get one, we'll pass it along. Hogan throwing on first down to his favorite target today, Rashard Higgins. And he's knocked out of bounds. C.J. Mosley and Lardarius Webb. And now Kizer talking to the Browns training staff. As we told you, left the game in the first half with migraines.
You know, we saw him go into the observation tent. And so you wonder if he goes in there, which normally guys would go into if they have a concussion or some type of injury. But he just, that big move right there where he picked up his helmet. Number one, he's going to be listening to the play calls because he has that microphone in his helmet.
Second down and 6. Hogan, and that pass is dropped by Corey Coleman. So Kenny Britt had a big drop last week for the Browns, and now Coleman drops one right in his hands.
I'm telling you, it's the video game. When they played the Ravens on video games, the Ravens were just wearing out the wide receivers. So you saw his eyes go off the ball just a little bit. You always talk to kids about, you know, what does it take to be a great receiver? You got to have great hands. No, you got to have great eyes. You got to be able to look that ball in.
Coleman had 5 catches a week ago. He's without a catch today. Browns broke the huddle very late. Only 3 on the play clock. And now a timeout called for by Cleveland. They were in the huddle too long, and they're forced to use a timeout here early in the third quarter.
And I think Coleman was the culprit there. You saw him patting his helmet. Like, I made the mistake there. Number one, you missed the ball. You dropped the ball. Very catchable pass. And then on the next play, you don't line up in the correct place coming out of the huddle. Not good.
Kizer still watching without the helmet on. So an early timeout called by Hugh Jackson.
When you construct your game plan, you meet with your starting quarterback Friday after practice, and you kind of go through what he likes in the game plan. So he's done that with DeShone Kizer. Might have had a brief meeting with Hogan and Cody Kessler, but it's been all geared toward DeShone Kizer. Now he has to search for plays that he knows that Kevin Hogan is comfortable with.
Browns are 4 for 18 this season on third downs. That's just 22%. Pressure coming, and a flag is down immediately. It looked like Matthew Judon got an early jump.
Nice job by Judon pulling off of Hogan too also.
Offside defense, number 99, unabated. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Judon, the second-year man out of Grand Valley State. So now it's third down and 1. 4th penalty against the Ravens. Hogan in the shotgun with Crowell next to him. They're throwing it on 3rd and 1. Hogan deep down the field for Lewis. Johnson then cuts it off and makes the catch. That pass, I believe, was intended for Ricardo Lewis, and Duke Johnson caught it before it could get to Lewis.
You know, you have people who can give you directions on how to get somewhere. At the end of this play, there are 2 guys right in the same area, but that's a nice job in catching the ball, locating it, one hand, a little bit of highlight reel right there, and Hogan, nice job hanging in there, taking a hit as he's throwing the football.
34-yard gain and a first down for Cleveland. Crowell on the carry. He's got some room. Crowell at the 25 and tripped up at the 23-yard line by Eric Weddle. But 16 more yards for the Browns offense.
Nice vision. You see the hole coming up. He's able to get to the second level, and Eric Weddle, nice job of making an ankle tackle to bring him down.
Joe Batonio helped clearing a hole, the starting left guard for Cleveland. Last 2 plays, they've gained 51 yards. Back on the ground with Crowell. And he's ripped down by Carl Davis, shy of the 20-yard line.
Get down near that red zone. Now the eyes of the offensive coordinator, the head coach, Hugh Jackson, shifts to those set of plays. And these plays, you probably ran them 20 reps in practice this week. Kaiser probably got 18 reps. Hogan got about 2 reps, but you always want good backup players when they get those what you call mental reps. So you're standing behind the huddle and you envision what you would do if you were in.
2nd down and 8. Play action. Hogan taking a shot in the end zone, incomplete. He's trying to connect with Corey Coleman. Brandon Carr on the coverage for Baltimore.
Yeah, and Corey Coleman asking the official, is there still a 5-yard chuck rule in the NFL? Because there was a lot of physical contact further down the field, but Coleman has to do a better job at the line of scrimmage. We talked about Jeremy Maclin for the Ravens winning at the line of scrimmage. There was no clear win right there, and unless you get that win and separation, you're not going to get a lot of calls down the field. Coleman's still enjoying a conversation with the official on the far side.
6th time today, the Browns have had at least 3rd and 8. This one is exactly 8 yards with 9.5 to go in the 3rd. Hogan high and incomplete. He overthrew Seth DeValve, and out comes the kicker, Zane Gonzalez.
Hogan walking off with DeValve, having a little bit of a conversation because this is not what they've been doing. But see, right there.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson was pointing at his chest, saying, hit him in the numbers. It'll be a 38-yard field goal attempt for Zane Gonzalez. 7th round pick. And it's good. With 9:21 to go, 3rd quarter, it's 21-10 Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by the new McCafe Espresso menu. Nothing comes before coffee.
Back in Baltimore, and DeShone Kizer chatting with Hugh Jackson. The Browns just kicked a field goal, and they now trail 21-10. We do have an injury update coming on Kizer from Steve Tasker. And a touchback. Let's go down to Steve Tasker.
Yeah, more on DeShone Kizer. His migraine has cleared, and he is now available to play, starting to warm up on the sideline. So looks like Hugh Jackson's going to hand him the football back and hope that he can go out and play quarterback and not turn the football over. They've looked good when they've been able to hang on to it.
All right, good news there for the Browns. Available to return, DeShone Kizer, and still no injury update on Marshall Yonda, who went out on the last series for the Ravens. They're back out there, 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Flacco in trouble, escapes. Now on the run, trying to get away, and he'll throw it away. Good job by Flacco to avoid the sack right there. It is Tony Bergstrom who remains at right guard for the injured Marshall Yonda.
In the first half, you had play action and you had Joe Flacco outside the pocket. Here he's in the pocket, pulls the ball back down, and escapes to the outside. And he wants to throw this ball away, and he still takes a hit at the end of the play.
Larry Ogunjobi, the rookie out of Charlotte, applying the pressure on that last play. 2nd down and 10, 9:10 to go in the 3rd quarter. Flacco to the air again. Short pass, and that's caught by Watson, but immediately wrapped up by Jamar Taylor. It'll be 3rd down and long for Baltimore.
You can feel the uneasiness in the stadium. The Cleveland Browns went down the field converted a field goal attempt, and now you get that first down play, Flacco in the pocket, forced out of the pocket. That time, quick pressure, tight coverage, a loss on the completion, and Greg Williams, you know he had some choice words to say to his unit, but he's always pushing them to do more.
3rd down and 12. Good protection. The pass is batted down and incomplete. And the Browns defense forces a quick 3 and out.
Oh, you can feel it just a little bit. So this is a critical junction. Does Hugh Jackson put back in Kevin Hogan, who's led them to 10 points? Does he go with DeShone Kizer, who had a migraine and comes back and tells you he's okay, and the medical staff clears him? Which guy do you feel was the hot guy? And for Hugh Jackson, talking to us in our meetings, he knew early on that DeShone Kizer was the guy. We'll see if he knows it again this afternoon.
It was Ogba who batted down that pass. First 3 and out today by the Baltimore offense. Good punt by Cook. Out of bounds around the 10-yard line. They'll mark it at the 13 after a beauty from Cook. Who will the Browns quarterback be? Find out next. Saturday, the SEC on CBS features the #1 team in the country, Alabama. Jalen Hurts drives the Tide into Vanderbilt to battle the Commodores. The day begins with college football. The drive to Atlanta, followed by the College Football Today show on CBS. A dramatic finish yesterday at the SEC on CBS with the game-winning touchdown pass thrown by Florida. Meanwhile, DeShone Kizer re-enters the game. His migraine is cleared. Hands it off to Crowell. What do you think of the decision to go back to Kizer, James Lofton?
When your starters are available, they play the game. And Kevin Hogan came in relief, did some good things. DeShone Kizer is your immediate starter, your near-term starter, and probably your long-term answer in Cleveland. So get him back in. Yeah, he might have had a tough go in the first half, got bounced around a little bit, migraine kicks up. Once it's gone, he's ready to go.
Kizer gets out of trouble, but still nowhere to go, and he goes down to the ground at the 15. Owasso with good containment, and quickly Kizer into a 3rd and long.
Now, Andrew, if that's getting out of trouble, I want to see what trouble looks like, because it did look like momentarily it kind of opened up, but it closed up quickly, and he did the right thing, get down, protect the football.
Give Owasso the sack, 3rd of the day for the Ravens defense. And it's loud here in Baltimore for 3rd and 9. And Kizer.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Poor awareness, another delay of game call against the Browns offense.
The first thing that DeShone Kizer told us that he checks when he comes out of the huddle, I check the safeties, then I look at the front, and then I take one more look at the safeties. Eric Weddle and Tony Jefferson are just not doing him any favors. I mean, their subtle movements, faking toward going to deep half, going to the deep middle, the two of those guys together are just doing a job on DeShone Kizer.
Second delay of game with Kizer at quarterback for the Browns. Looking down the field, and that pass is too high for his intended target, Sammy Coates. So Kizer comes back in after the long layoff because of the migraine, and a 3 and out by the Browns offense.
Remember when we talked to DeShone Kizer, he said one of the things I learned is if I don't have it down the field, I want to check down to my running back, somebody who's right in front of me. That time he didn't have it down the field. He asked time, and still that gunslinger mentality is on display with DeShone Kizer.
So Colquitt to punt. Campanaro and Webb back deep. This is a good punt by Colquitt. Campanaro all the way back to his own 25-yard line. And he goes down at the 36 after a booming punt by Britton Colquitt. 67-yard boot for Colquitt. That matches his career long.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. And by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things fall.
Back in Baltimore, and with an injury update, we go down to Steve Tasker.
Yeah, from the Baltimore sidelines, defensive tackle Brandon Williams has got a foot injury. His return is questionable, and also we've been waiting on the word from Marshall Yanda, also a foot injury. He is questionable as well. So two guys from the interior of both sides of the line are down right now for Baltimore.
Yeah, it's Brandon Williams who's out, not Max Williams. Brandon Williams was not out there for the last defensive series for the Ravens, and Yanda is still not out there on this drive for Flacco and Baltimore, as Javaris Allen is shoved out of bounds by Nate Orchard. Flacco started 11 out of 13, but since then, he's 7 for 13.
And he's had some balls that he's had to throw away. You've had pressure from the Cleveland Browns. They've been a little more aggressive in this second half. You can see the aggressiveness last time on that last play right at the line of scrimmage. And when you're down a Marshall Yanda, your best offensive lineman, you go to Tony Bergstrom, his backup, there's going to be some interest on Greg Williams of trying to exploit that matchup at right guard.
Loss of 2 on first down, 2nd and 12. Flacco gets rid of it to Allen. And Allen across the 40 to bring up 3rd down. A 7-yard pickup for Javaris Allen. Jason McCourty on the tackle.
The first month of the regular season is tough on players. You play during the preseason sparingly if you're a starter, and you get enough rest and all of that. And then you start the regular season grind. And the little nick that you had from playing 60 minutes in the first game doesn't go away until Friday, and you're still not sure how you feel by the time the game rolls around. And the heat in the beginning of the season is also a factor with players getting dehydrated.
Ravens just 1 for 6 on 3rd downs. Flacco completes and converts. Terrence West close to midfield, a gain of 8. And the Ravens move the chains.
Boy, that's a nice job on the rub route there. You get 2 receivers who are crossing. They're going to cross this side, and you get another one coming underneath. And it's hard for the defense to run through that clutter of traffic there. And nice job by Joe Flacco pinpointing that pass and catching his receiver right in stride.
Last week, the Ravens rushed it 42 times. Today, 16 carries compared to 30 passes for Flacco. They had this one off to Alex Collins, just off the practice squad yesterday. His first touch as a Raven goes for 15 yards.
Yeah, Alex Collins does a nice job in getting to the edge of the play. Once you get to that edge, you can make people miss, and somebody just tackled some turf there.
Ravens promoted Jeremy Langford off the practice squad Thursday to be the running back to take Danny Woodhead's place, but yesterday they reversed course. They cut Langford and bring in Collins, who stays out there on 1st and 10. They'll run it again off the handoff from Flacco. And Collins with a little spark off the bench, a 4-yard pickup.
Well, we know what 2 plays Collins knows. Sweep left.
He was in Seattle all summer, a 5th-round pick by the Seahawks a year ago, and then got cut after the preseason this year. Joined the Ravens practice squad, saw an opportunity here in Baltimore, and after being on the practice squad for week 1, he's active here week 2. 2nd down and 6, inside 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Collins for the 3rd straight time. Now trying to get to the right side, and he's hit hard out of bounds by Jabril Peppers.
Andrew, that's an impressive run. When you get contacted 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and you don't get a negative run, you've done something special. You see him getting just rocked in the backfield. And one of the things about playing in Seattle, tough, hard-nosed team, great defense. Over here, this team, tough, hard-nosed team, great defense. So the styles kind of match up. And so you take a player off of Seattle's roster that you like, that you've been eyeing, that Ozzie Newsome probably had his eye on, when he sweeps through Alabama. You got to drive through Arkansas to get there.
3rd down and 5, with 3 on the play clock. They hand it off to Javaris Allen. He's got some room. Allen right at Jamie Collins. And Javaris Allen has a Baltimore 1st down, a gain of 14.
Fresh legs. So you are able to alternate 3 backs, Terrence West, Javaris Allen, Alex Collins. Now you get Javaris West in the game, and he's not bigger or stronger than Jamie Collins, but he's fresh. And he comes in, he gets that hand right in the chest of Collins, and Collins is just a little off balance. He's going to be telling everybody in the film room, you saw me with my stiff arm.
Javaris Allen now has 8 carries for 58 yards. Last 4 plays, all rushing plays for Baltimore. They picked up 35 yards. And it's Allen again. And this time the Browns come up to meet him. Nate Orchard on the tackle as time ticks away here in the third quarter.
You can just feel the little bit of energy being sucked out of the Cleveland Browns. They're a little fatigued. Baltimore's run a lot of plays in this first 3.5 quarters. And when you look at Hugh Jackson, he's trying to come up with that stern look, like, come on, guys, you can get this done.
This will be the 52nd play for the Ravens to 42 for the Browns. It's 2nd down and 9. Play action. Flacco, and he's able just to throw this one away. As Christian Kirksey was leading the charge against Flacco, it's 3rd and 9.
That was a play where he expected one of his tight ends to kind of fake a block, then come all the way across the field and get out in the pattern and end up over here. Nobody does it. And Joe Flacco realizes there's nobody to throw to, so get outside the tackle box and throw the ball away and avoid the loss.
You got to think, if you're the Cleveland defense, field goal is the big key here. Try to hold the Ravens to a field goal. It's 3rd down and 9. Baltimore needs to get to the 5-yard line for a first down.
We're getting a new 25-second play clock right here.
2 for 2 this drive on 3rd downs for the Ravens, trying to keep the drive alive. Flacco to Allen, and he's hit at the 10-yard line and gets no further. Jabril Peppers with another tackle for the Cleveland defense. And they do their job to try to limit the Ravens to a field goal attempt. It's 4th and 5.
Well, they did a great job in lining up on the border, right on the line, right along the goal line, and then coming up, making the play one-on-one in the open field and a secure tackle, and 0 yards after contact.
That's the 5th tackle for Peppers, and time's going to run out in the third quarter unless Flacco's just trying to get him to jump here late. That's what he does. That is the end of the third quarter with Baltimore leading 21-10. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the fourth quarter here in Baltimore with Hall of Famer James Lofton and Steve Tasker. I'm Andrew Catalan, our entire NFL on CBS crew, as Justin Tucker lines up a 28-yard field goal attempt to begin the fourth quarter. Tucker is 0 for 1 today. He missed from 58.
How often do you get to say that?
Very rarely. Only missed 1 the entire season last year. And now Tucker 1 out of 2. He puts the Ravens up by 2 touchdowns. It's 24-10. So Deshaun Kaiser will get ready to go back to work. Let's take a closer look at what Terrell Suggs has done today, Mr. Lofton.
So when you have 6 Pro Bowls, you're good against almost everybody in the league, unless you're going against a guy with 10 Pro Bowls. But he still gets his hands on Deshaun Kaiser, and he wreaks havoc from the other side, and he does a great job. That's his 34th fumble of his career, and sometimes you just have to hold him if you're on offense.
A sack and a forced fumble today for Suggs, so he already has 3 sacks in 2 games. When we asked Deshaun Kaiser about Suggs, he said, that guy looks as young as me. Well, not really, because when Suggs entered the NFL, Deshaun Kaiser was in 1st grade. Suggs will turn 35 next month. Kaiser's 21 years old. In fact, the Browns have the youngest team in the NFL by age. 24.1 years is their average age.
I think you could say that about them for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So
the Ravens have 14 players who are 30 years or older.
Fine wine.
Suggs is one of them.
I mean, you really look at them on defense, and they really do have some outstanding veteran players in Weddle, Webb, and Brandon Carr, who we talked about. Brandon Carr has played in, 160 consecutive games and not missed a start.
Well, Brandon Williams, we told you, questionable with a foot injury. He is not out there right now for the Ravens defensively. Carl Davis is on the defensive line. And Marshall Yonda also questionable to return with a left ankle injury. Kaiser out of the shotgun. On 1st and 10. Looking to throw the football. On the move, chased by Davis, and down he goes at the 27. We go back to New York, an NFL Today update with JB and Coach Cowher.
Coach, talk about dropping the ball in the basket. Take a look.
Carson Palmer, he struggled all day against Indianapolis, but right here he is going to find right there J.J. Nelson for the touchdown. He pulls him within 3 of the Indianapolis Colts, 13-10.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
All right, JB, thank you. Corey Coleman with that catch on the sideline. And that's the first catch today for Coleman, who Hugh Jackson told us last night he is our #1 receiver.
Tight coverage by Brandon Carr, and you're going to see a little push off at the top of the stem. Receivers, yeah, you can be covered tightly. I used to teach my guys, you chop down on the arms of the defensive back. You extend your arm, it should have been a yellow flag, especially in front of the Ravens bench.
Kaiser looking deep down the field. He's got a man, and it's caught by Higgins. Higgins is shoved out of bounds by Jimmy Smith. What a day for Rashard Higgins. 28 more yards for the second-year man out of Colorado State.
Well, great job on the outside by Ricardo Lewis. Runs Smith off that deep third zone area and allows Higgins that soft area outside, and nice job by Kaiser dropping it in over the defense.
Last year, Higgins had 77 yards receiving the entire year. Today, he's got 80 yards. Kaiser too high for Crowell, who was chased by Correa of the Ravens defense at 2nd and 10.
Trying to take that check down, trying to make the smart play, and he did a nice job of it. He kept the ball out in front of the receiver, didn't slow him down, didn't give the defensive player a chance to make the play.
Career highs for Higgins, both receptions and yards. Second and 10 with Duke Johnson at running back. Kaiser over the middle, off the hand of Kenny Britt, but a flag comes in from the secondary. Kenny Britt only 1 catch for 2 yards today. Only had 1 catch a week ago in the opener against
Legal
Pittsburgh.
use of hands to the face. Defense, number 22. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Jimmy Smith can't believe it. He's the guilty party.
You kind of aim at the chest if you are a defensive back, and every once in a while those hands will slide up into the face area. That's I would not have unleashed the flag right there.
Now you know why Smith was frustrated. 5th penalty on the Ravens.
Now you always hear the term short memory. You got to have a short memory, but sometimes you don't want to make the same mistake twice, so maybe the hands will be even lower next time.
Browns driving. They've got it at the Baltimore 30. Kaiser pump fakes. Now looking for Coleman, and it's nearly intercepted. Marlon Humphrey, the rookie out of Alabama, nearly had his first career interception. And now Coleman is slow to get up.
And with a pump fake, you're also going to draw the eyes of the inside safety. That time, Tony Jefferson does a great job breaking on the ball. And also, you have to target the receiver in the correct place. You can't head and neck injury. The time he just came by with his little flipper, got him right on the hip. It was a little ouch there.
Humphrey only played 9 snaps defensively last week, but John Harbaugh said he's earned more, and he's out here in crunch time in the 4th quarter as Coleman is slow to walk off. We asked Dean Pease about Marlon Humphrey. He said he's everything we thought he would be, strong and fast, and he figures to be a big part of this Ravens defense for years to come.
when you're a good team, and the Ravens have missed the playoffs the last 2 seasons, but you upgrade a little bit with Brandon Carr, bring in Tony Jefferson, Ladarius Webb, who's been a veteran here for the last 9 years, has some position flexibility, and then you add Humphrey, who would be a starter a lot of places in day one, and you can work them in slowly.
2nd and 10. Kaiser over the middle to Higgins, his 6th catch, and he fights his way for a first down. Hollywood Higgins, it was a name given to Richard by his Pee-wee coach, and it stuck with him all the way to Colorado State, and he's got a little Hollywood in him today.
Well, he's working the middle. He makes himself available. Nice soft hands coming across. Tim Brown wore number 81. There's a little bit of Tim Brown there at the end of that play. A little wiggle.
First time in the red zone today for Cleveland. 1st and 10. Duke Johnson on the delayed handoff. Johnson at the 10. Johnson to the outside at the 5. Lunges for the end zone. And he was out of bounds before he got there. But what a run by Duke Johnson. 1st and goal, Cleveland.
Acceleration through the hole, the vision to see a big hole, and once you make that cut, then shift the ball. Put it in your left arm so that you can ward off the defender, and then Duke Johnson even trying to stretch for the pylon. Good job.
The Ravens have called timeout as Cleveland sets up for 1st and goal. There's 12:28 to go in the 4th quarter, and the Browns are knocking on the door. Duke Johnson did not have a carry last week. Had at least 1 carry in every game of his career before that game against Pittsburgh. Today, Johnson has 6 touches, 4 carries for 21 yards. He also has 2 catches.
You know, this timeout by the Ravens gives the Cleveland Brown coaches time to kind of look at this play, see if he really is out of bounds, because it looks like once he goes vertical, you could not tell that he was out of bounds, nor could you tell that he was still in bounds, so it'd be hard to overturn.
They will not challenge. 1st and goal with Crowell next to Kaiser. Kaiser had a rushing touchdown last week against Pittsburgh. He's going to try to run this one in as well, but he can't. Tripped up by Tony Jefferson. Great play by the safety out of Oklahoma.
Tony Jefferson finished his career as an Oklahoma Sooner, and he's sitting there waiting through the draft, and nobody calls. He doesn't get drafted. He goes, plays for the Arizona Cardinals. They appreciate his efforts, but when the Baltimore Ravens go, so this is the place to go. That's where my idol Eric Weddle is, where Ed Reed played. I can go make a name for myself here.
Browns also offered Jefferson a contract. He elected to come here to Baltimore. 2nd and goal. Kaiser, good protection over the middle, intercepted! Picked off by Ladarius Webb. Last week, the Ravens defense forced 2 turnovers inside the 10-yard line, and they get another one here against the Browns. Webb the pick. It's Baltimore football. The Ravens defense has now forced 9 turnovers to begin the season. 4 today by Kaiser and the Browns offense. It's the 2nd pick for Webb, and the Ravens offense goes back to work without Marshall Yonda. He's out for the rest of the game with an ankle injury. This is Collins on the carry as we go back to the interception by Webb.
I can see it. I'm going to show it to you. Right here in the back of the end zone is the void area where you would like to throw the ball, but it has to be on time and anticipated. And what does Kaiser do? Holds it just a hair too long, and then it's an off-target throw in addition to that. But if he had been able to anticipate that throw and hit that void area, they would have had a touchdown instead of a turnover.
2nd interception today by Kaiser. 7-yard pickup on 1st for Collins. He remains the running back on 2nd down and 3. Hit the backfield, gets away, and Collins dances his way for another Baltimore first down. When we met with Eric Weddle on Friday at the Ravens facility, he said the number they always talk about is 28. He says that's what we say to each other, 28, 28. That was the Patriots turnover ratio in 2010.
Plus 28?
Plus 28. No, it's also the 49ers in 2011. Plus 28. It's the best number turnover ratio-wise in the last 33 years. And he said that's their goal this year.
Yeah, they're thinking historic figures. They aren't thinking, oh, we want to be plus 5, plus 10, which are good numbers. But plus 28, it's like hitting 75 home runs.
They're already plus 7. Here in the fourth quarter of the second game of the season. A late tackle by Taylor on Macklin. And there's no flag.
Well, Macklin's trying to dance in bounds. And that Dancing with the Stars show is during the offseason. Right now, you get that close to the sideline, you might as well step out of bounds. But Jeremy Macklin, maybe that was a little flop at the end. Vlade Divac.
Wow. Digging deep there with your hoops knowledge, Mr. Lofton.
I was a Laker fan growing up.
Macklin picks up 9, so it's second down and 1. It's a handoff to Max Williams. Tight end used as the H-back in that set, and he picks up the first down.
Now he has to report to the running back room to watch that one play.
So now the Ravens can try to chew up some clock, just like they did a week ago in Cincinnati when they had the ball for 34 minutes, including a second half drive that lasted close to 10 minutes. Chris Matthews, the motion man. Javaris Allen cannot get away from Carl Nassib. Nice tackle by the second-year man out of Penn State for a loss of 2.
You know, we hear quarterbacks talked about as game managers sometimes, and it's situational football that you have to be aware of and have your mind in tune to. That time, Joe Flacco snapped that play with 1 second on the 40-second play clock. So that's how you extend the drive a little bit. You give your defense a chance to rest on the field, but your offensive linemen have to execute. You miss a block, you let somebody go and block, he's going to make a play in the backfield.
Play action to Collins. Flacco completes it to Williams, who rumbles his way across the 45-yard line. It'll be third down and short for the Ravens.
Williams had an uncomfortable landing right there, right at the end. We've seen this before early in the game where you use this middle screen. They've thrown it to the right side one time, here to the left side, and those offensive linemen have to protect Max Williams a little better than that. You know, they feel like one of their own caught the ball when the tight end catches it, but treat them like you would a running back and block those.
Third down and 6 for Baltimore as we approach 7.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Flacco's in the shotgun. Over the middle, caught by Watson right at the chains. This will depend on the spot, and it's a good spot if you're a Ravens fan. First down, Baltimore, a gain of 7.
It's one thing to be strong in the weight room, and when you see Benjamin Watson in person and right in front of you, you realize here's a strong guy. But to have strong hands is another thing. So you catch that ball, it hits your hands, you get hit right in the back, you still got to be able to maintain control of the ball, and Benjamin Watson certainly can do that.
Did not have a catch week 1. Today, Watson 7 catches for 79 yards. Collins up the middle, has got some room. Collins now trying to get to the outside and can't spin away from Peppers. Ball comes out late. He may have been down for the moment, though. They're saying it's Browns football. Then the ball gets tossed around midfield, and it's still with the Browns, but they will go back and look to see if Collins was down. For the moment, it's Cleveland football. Ravens sideline indicating that Collins was down. Here's another look. Was the ball out? Oh yes, it was a turnover by Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com.
The call on the field has been confirmed. It is Cleveland football after the fumble by Alex Collins, who was just off the practice squad yesterday. So the Browns, down by 2 touchdowns, get the ball back at midfield with 6:35 to go. Kaiser's 9 out of 18 for 129 yards and 2 interceptions. And a flag comes in.
Suggs looked like he came across and then the tackle moved, but that was just my eye telling me that.
Well, play clock was also winding down. Kaiser's already been called for delay of game twice at quarterback.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 55. 5-yard penalty, first down.
But it goes on Suggs and gives the Browns 5 more yards.
And I'll tell you, if I was lined up opposite Suggs and he came across, I would move too. Just a little bit by Suggs.
Kaiser down the field for Coates. Juggled, he caught it but out of bounds. So it'll be 2nd down and 5.
Now, Kaiser's doing a great job, but these receivers are pinned too close to the sideline. There's no room for Kaiser to really throw them open. You've got to fight. At practice, when you go to facilities, there's a red line, which is halfway in between the outside edge of the numbers and the sideline, and it's 6 yards from the boundary. And you would love for your wide receivers to give your quarterback more room to throw the ball deep over that outside shoulder and not run down what I call the lateral, which is where you see the white stripes on the sideline.
Coates still without a catch this season. Kaiser tries to escape and throws it incomplete to Johnson. Guess who? Terrell Suggs nearly had his 2nd sack.
And you see him talking to Gene Serratore. He says, you know, when I came into the league, they used to have a rule called in the grasp. And that used to be a sack when you had the quarterback like that. No, not anymore. Not with big, strong guys like Deshaun Kaiser.
John Harbaugh told us, I've never seen Suggs in such great shape before. Did not have to rehab an injury over the summer. He was able to work out. And as Hugh Jackson said, it seems like Terrell Suggs has found the fountain of youth at the age of 34. His 3rd quarterback hit. It's 3rd and 5. Kaiser chased out again, throws, intercepted, Brandon Carr. And Carr goes down at the 35. Turnover number 5 by the Browns. 2nd interception this season by Brandon Carr. 6:09 to go, 4th quarter in Baltimore. The Ravens lead the Browns 24-10. Once again, this Baltimore defense has done a great job. For the 2nd straight week, they have forced 5 turnovers. The latest one, an interception thrown by Deshaun Kaiser, picked off by Brandon Carr. The last 2 interceptions thrown by Kaiser have not even been close. And the Ravens offense go back to work. Movement on the line. You saw that this year in 2 games. Ravens opponents have only scored 10 points. They've kicked 9 punts, and their opponents have thrown 8 interceptions.
Encroachment, defense number 94. 5-yard penalty, first down.
For Deshaun Kaiser, we saw him in the conversation with Hugh Jackson. Every young quarterback goes through this, where you have to learn to not try and do too much. Make the plays that are there when the plays are not there, because you saw that one play where he throws the ball late down the middle. Now he's rolling to the right, throws the ball late back into traffic. Those are mistakes that young players make more often than veterans.
Alex Collins on the carry. Let's take a look at what this Ravens defense has done against Cleveland today.
This Ravens defense has been scary for about the last 15 years, and it's starting to flap its wings once again. When I talked to Brandon Carr before the game, he said, I want to give you something to talk about. He gave us something to talk about. Tight coverage all game long, and it pays off with an interception in the 4th quarter.
With James Lofton and Steve Tasker, I'm Andrew Catalan. Week 2 here in Baltimore as the Ravens try to run their record to 2-0, and there's been a lot of talk about how good this Ravens defense is. It's only been 2 games, but so far they've forced 10 turnovers. Black Flacco on the run, completes it to Watson, who's got a Baltimore first down. 8th catch of the day for the veteran Benjamin Watson. This one goes for 12 yards.
We have a checklist here. We can check off Ravens defense good, Joe Flacco. Somebody must have put some oil on him, because we were talking about maybe he's a little rusty, maybe the back hurts a little bit. Well, they've oiled up the back, and I haven't seen any signs of rust on Joe Flacco today. 9
completions for Flacco last week. Today he's 25 out of 34 for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. Morris Allen in at running back as we're inside 5 minutes to go. Allen met at the line with the Browns expecting run, and it's 2nd down. Tarek Kindred leading the charge. Danny Shelton also in on the stop for Cleveland.
When I was coaching, we would have a 9-on-7 drill. You'd have 7 offensive players, 9 defensive players, and it'd be a running drill. I always thought, it's not fair. And that's what we just saw in the last play. It looked like the 9-on-7 drill for the defense, where everybody's stacked up on the line and running back gets pounded.
Second and 11. Allen again met in the backfield. Do you use a timeout here if you're Hugh Jackson?
He did immediately. He heard us thinking about it, and it's a little different though, because this is a team that won 1 game last year. Now, they did win all 4 preseason games, so a little bit of learning how to win, learning how to manage games. They're going to be in this situation maybe more times than not, where they're behind trying to come through in games.
Coming up on the State Farm postgame show, JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cower have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the State Farm postgame show. As Kaiser said, welcome to the NFL, right? His first game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, his second game in Baltimore. Next week, the Browns go to Indianapolis, and then they host Cincinnati and the Jets. They have 1 timeout remaining after Jackson just called the timeout to stop the clock with 4 minutes to go.
A couple of things going for DeShone Kizer. Hugh Jackson is very positive. DeShone Kizer is very positive. They meet at 5 a.m. in the morning. And when you have somebody who's that studious and that dedicated toward what he's doing, there will be improvement, but there will also be bumps in the road.
Stoppage. And Baltimore is called timeout.
Second charge timeout. Baltimore.
Well, next Sunday, these Ravens and the Jaguars go to London. James Lofton and I going with them. And then J.J. Watt and the Texans tackle Brady and the Patriots. And later on, the Bengals head into Lambeau to battle Rodgers and the Packers. Don't forget, JB, Phil, Coach Nate Boomer. They'll be on the NFL Today starting at noon Eastern time. You know, we asked Kaiser, you meet at 5 a.m. with Hugh Jackson, or, you're just out of college. Are you an early riser? He said, oh, yeah. At Notre Dame, he would rather do his homework at 5 in the morning than at 11 o'clock at night. So he said he's used to getting up early. 21-year-old kid getting up at 5 a.m. There's not many of those.
Well, tonight, after throwing a couple of interceptions, it might be a sleepless night for him.
That's a good point. So, all right, Ravens have 1 timeout left now. 3rd and 13. Hand it off to Allen, and Allen's going to be short of a first down, but a late flag comes in from behind the play. Gene Steratore, the referee.
So he's looking like he's placing this flag beyond the line of scrimmage. So if it's a hold down the field, from
holding.
Point.
Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 3rd down.
That's on Tony Bergstrom, who, if you're just joining us, is replacing the injured Marshall Yonda. He's out for the rest of the game with a left ankle injury.
He wraps him up. You've got to kind of punch players and get the hands up inside. When you start to hug them like you haven't seen them in a long time, hey, buddy, how you doing? That's holding.
Interesting decision to accept the penalty by Hugh Jackson. It's going to make him run another play, but now more time's going to come off the clock. 3:55 to go.
Well, they were in field goal range.
Allen hit it midfield, still going. And now it's 4th down, and out comes Sam Cook, the punter. Browns have called their final timeout with 3:48 to go, so no timeouts the rest of the way for Hugh Jackson.
Players are so fun, and Justin Tucker is a kicker and a player, and he was walking down the sideline as if to say, I could make it from there. He's doing the math in his head going, okay, this is 67, 68, this is my time. I can handle this one.
He has made a 79-yarder in practice, and he has been begging for a chance to kick one from 70 yards or longer. There's only been 6 70-yard attempts or longer in NFL history. Now, in practice, no one's rushing into you.
I was on the sideline for one.
Janikowski.
Lane Kiffin called a 76-yarder, and Antonio Cromartie was playing for the Chargers and was back deep to try and return it before the end of the half.
It was way short. Tucker doesn't get his wish here. It's Cook punting to Peppers, who lets it bounce at the 2 and it goes into the end zone. With 3:40 to go in the fourth quarter, no timeouts left for the Browns. They do have the 2-minute warning. They trail by 2 touchdowns. John Harbaugh, in his career as the Ravens head coach, 16-2 against the Cleveland Browns. So on the verge of going to 17-2. We'd like to welcome those of you just joining us here in Baltimore with Hall of Fame wide receiver James Lofton and Steve Tasker, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. This Baltimore defense, after shutting out Cincinnati in week 1, is doing it again, this time to Cleveland. They have forced 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions thrown by rookie quarterback DeShone Kizer, who takes the snap on first down and checks it down to the tight end, Njoku. He caught a touchdown earlier in the game, but that touchdown throw was from Kevin Hogan. If you're just joining us, DeShone Kizer missed the majority of the first half with a migraine. Did not return until midway through the third quarter, and he has had a tough day with those 3 interceptions.
There is a relentless attitude and pace that you see on display with the Baltimore Ravens defensively.
Good protection here. Kizer steps up, he'll keep it himself and slides down at the 30, and that is very close to a Cleveland first down. But Kizer off the mark here the last couple of times with his throws. These interceptions, I mean, that one's not even close in the end zone to Higgins. And a 360 replay here, Brandon Carr with the pick.
And throwing the ball, rolling to your right and throwing it back across your body just allows defenders to really drive on the ball.
Suggs coming with pressure. Kizer steps up, gets rid of it, and completes it to Duke Johnson, who sheds a tackle. And then Johnson brought down a yard shy of a first down, a gain of 9.
You see the eyes down the field, scans left, comes back to the right, and that high release over the defensive lineman so that ball doesn't get tipped in that occasion.
Pressure coming, and what a strike by Kizer to Ricardo Lewis. Tony Jefferson had a free lane at Kizer, who just got rid of it, and Lewis brings it to the Baltimore 38-yard line, a gain of 24, and we've hit the 2-minute warning here in Baltimore. Browns down 2 touchdowns, but on the move against the Ravens.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new Type R, the most powerful Civic ever from Honda. And by the Subway Autumn Carved Turkey.
Two minutes to go in Baltimore. Browns do not have a timeout remaining. They trail by 2 touchdowns. They've got the ball at the Baltimore 38-yard line. Kizer out of the shotgun. Fires in the direction of Coates. Incomplete. It was Marlon Humphrey, the rookie out of Alabama, on the coverage for the Ravens.
And did you see DeShone Kizer going, what is that? Because there was not a lot of effort at the end of that route by Sammy Coates. He's supposed to run a comeback. You drive the defender up the field, and then you really come back hard to the outside. And so he's expecting that down stem to be at the same speed that he's bursting up the field. You are being evaluated this time, and everybody wants to see you compete. So Hugh Jackson, Al Saunders, the assistant head coach, they're looking for competition right here.
2nd and 10. Suggs coming up the middle. Kizer gets rid of it, but it's dropped by Ricardo Lewis. And a late flag has come in back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty, second down.
And that's on Sean Coleman, the second-year man out of Auburn.
The pocket's there, and maybe the pocket's there a little bit because there's a little bit of a hole, but Suggs up and under, and just take your eyes off the ball just for a moment. You've got to really secure that catch first. It's so simple, but it's not always easy because you do feel that defensive pressure around you. You know that defensive backs are either waiting for interceptions or waiting to give you a big lift.
Coleman not the first to hold Terrell Suggs. Probably won't be the last either. 2nd and 20. Kaiser to Higgins, and Higgins out of bounds just across the 45-yard line. It will be 3rd down and long for the Browns. Carr on the coverage again for a Ravens defense, if you're just joining us, that has forced 10 turnovers in the first 2 games of the season. 4 interceptions today by the Baltimore defense. Dean Pease, the Baltimore defensive coordinator, as this crowd for the Ravens home opener gets loud on 3rd and 17. Kaiser chased out, buying some time. He'll keep it himself and just run out of bounds. It'll be 4th down for Cleveland and 1:35 to go.
If you're Hugh Jackson and the coaching staff for the Cleveland Browns, you're evaluating every play. Does he make a good decision? That time outside the pocket, there's a good decision that was made because he glanced to the middle of the field. There were 2 Brown receivers there. But by the time that ball travels that distance, there are going to be about 4 Raven defenders also around the ball. So better decision to step out of bounds, take a few positive yards, and try and come back the next snap and see if you can pick up a 1st down.
Browns 2 for 2 on 4th downs a week ago. 4th and 11. This could be the ball game if they don't get it. Kaiser caught by DeVal, who reaches out for a 1st down. So Cleveland now 3 for 3 on 4th downs this season, but the clock continues to tick. Cleveland does not have a timeout.
What a great job by DeVal, who is coming across the field to stop and then come back in the opposite direction, because he was able to locate the eyes of Kaiser, and the eyes of Kaiser said, no, go the other direction.
Kaiser, and that pass is caught for a short gain by Ricardo Lewis. Tight coverage again by Marlon Humphrey, the 1st-round pick out of Alabama.
If you're Ricardo Lewis, you like the fact that your quarterback came back to you. You like it even more that you came up with the catch. Nice tight coverage by Humphrey.
An Auburn receiver making a short catch on an Alabama defensive back. Lewis and Humphrey matched up again on this play. Kaiser incomplete off the hand of Duke Johnson. It'll be 3rd down and 7, and just a reminder that coming up on the State Farm postgame show, JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the State Farm postgame show. If the Browns don't find a way to pull out a miracle here, it'll be their 14th consecutive loss on the road. They have not won away from home since October of 2015, when they won here in Baltimore.
I would say that less than half these Cleveland Browns are on that roster. So it's misery that they hear about.
3rd and 7. Kaiser, and it's dropped. Njoku with an easy one right in his hands, and now it's 4th and 7.
Now, Andrew, I'm going to be honest with you. I went through every form of drop while I was playing. The one that went off my fingertips, the one that bounced off my chest, the one that got lost in the sun, the one where the defensive back was holding. None of them help, and they give you an awful feeling in the pit of your stomach.
There's been a few of those today for these young Browns, youngest team in the NFL, an average age of 24 years old. Another 4th down. Pressure coming. Kaiser, take it away. Tim Williams wrapped him up, and that'll do it from here in Baltimore, fitting the Ravens defense, which has been outstanding to start this season. Puts the icing on the cake against the rookie Kaiser and the Browns.
The one thing I worry about a little bit with Kaiser is
off-target, not off-target throws, but kind of out of the pocket. Well, he's getting tackled. He's trying to throw, twisting, turning. Sometimes it's just better to take the sack. Because when you get in these awkward positions, that's when you get the injury that everybody just, the gruesome injuries that people see.
So Ravens opponents in 2 games have scored 10 points total and have turned the ball over 10 times total. Baltimore goes to 2-0 while the Browns fall to 0-2. They'll meet again week 15 in Cleveland as John Harbaugh runs his career record against the Browns to 17-2. Hugh Jackson, former quarterbacks coach here in Baltimore for a couple years under John Harbaugh. He said it was Harbaugh that jump-started his career. But today it's Harbaugh that gets the win 24-10. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame show. For James Lofton, Steve Tasker, our entire crew, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Baltimore. We'll take you back to New York for all the scores and highlights right after this. Again, the Ravens win.